Hello, my friend. Welcome to this episode on the Happiness Happens podcast. Today's conversation is going to be a solo conversation with me. And I love these solo ones because I feel like we can drop in, we can get present, we can have a real heart to heart about a topic that is super, super on my mind, that is relevant right now, and that I want to share with you because I want you to sort of gain this perspective as well. I'm not going to just so I'm not going to go into a whole big intro for this episode. I don't have any scripts prepared. I do these ones off the cuff because I like for them to just flow and go however they're meant to. So I want to talk today about this idea of, are you on the wrong path? Okay. This is a question that I've had for myself for a very long time, probably a couple of years now, and just questioning and trying to understand, you know, am I on the wrong path? Am I on the right path? How do you know the difference between the two and being able to move forward confidently in your decisions? So, what I've learned from myself over the last couple years is that ultimately there's no such thing as a wrong choice, right? There's no such thing as making the wrong choice. There's a thing called making the most aligned choice, but there isn't really something, in my opinion, that qualifies 100% as wrong. And the reason for this is because I believe there are multiple different timelines that we're able to tap into. And depending on whatever we choose on a day to day, whatever intuitive hit we receive and we act on, it helps us grow in our path and it helps us get further along in our spiritual growth and our emotional growth, our physical wellness, our mental wellness, all of it. And so when I was thinking about this topic and I was talking about to myself about this idea of right versus wrong path, I kept coming back to the idea that there is no wrong path. There is no wrong way to do things in life. There is only your way and the most aligned way. And I think we can get this confused sometimes because in our lives, let's break this down. In our lives, we have all kinds of different people, right? We have friends, we have family, we have colleagues, we have business relationships, we have people we meet in passing, we have, people I think for myself, like people I've interviewed on the podcast, people who drop nuggets of wisdom into our lives without maybe us even knowing or being aware in that moment that it is a nugget of wisdom that is going to shape us and help change us and transform us. And when I go back to this idea of right versus wrong, I think what happens is a lot of the time we make our decisions and we make our choices in our lives for ourselves based off of a few things. The first one being the amount of awareness that we have for the world around us, the amount of awareness we have within ourselves for who we are and how we are. And then I think we also in turn just kind of like take that and put a lot of weight into the stories that other people tell us about ourselves, about who we are, about how we are, about how we should show up in the world, about what next step we should do, which relationship we should have, which friendships we should keep and should let go, which client we work with or don't, which job we take or don't take. And I think that we do these things and we listen to these stories based off of preconceived ideas that other people have for us, for sure. And also, we take these stories as fact for ourselves, right? We take these stories as truth. We take them as our own Bible, for lack of a better words. And we live by the decisions that other people believe are right for us. But then what happens is, when you start this work, when you start getting on this personal growth journey and self development journey, what happens is maybe you start to question, is this story true for me? Is this action right for me? Is this relationship helpful in my current state? Is something in my life just a lesson or something to teach me? How is every single thing that we go through and we experience in life, how do those shape what we've done in the past, the preconceived ideas that we have about who and how we are, and also how does that transform who we become and the version of us that feels most aligned to us, right? So when you think about this idea of right versus wrong, it really doesn't exist because wrong in and of itself is not a quote unquote bad thing. It's a redirection, right? Everything that we go through and everything that we experience has a purpose and serves a purpose. So that may be to serve a purpose of redirection. It may be to serve a purpose of self-discovery. It may be a purpose of showing us what we deserve, what we maybe are lacking, what we want more of. And then we get a new awareness around this particular thing, whatever this thing could be for you. We get this awareness around it where we get to now choose a new thought. And what happens is when we start to choose these new and different thoughts, we choose them on the basis of our past lived experience, right? So we choose them based off of what and how other people think about who and how we are, what the actions that we've taken in our life so far to date that have brought us where we are, what we tolerate in all of our relationships around us, what we can forgive, and what we simply can't, right? And what we feel we want to do next and what we feel we deserve to do next. And so, I was thinking about this and how do we navigate this? So, you have this awareness that something isn't maybe in alignment with you. Maybe it's not something anymore that feels like it's meant for you. Maybe you've done all of the growing that you possibly could in this particular scenario. Or maybe it's a wake up call to make you shift something in your life and shift something around yourself. And those are all great things. And then it's like, okay, but now what? What do I do now with all of this new awareness? How do I start to make changes in my life that feel in alignment with me? And I know for myself, when I started doing this, I've been on this journey for quite a while now. And when I started doing this work and started tapping into what brings me joy and what I want every single day out of my life, what I realized is how fearful it makes other people around you. People don't like change, right? I don't like change. I can sit very easily in something for a very long time, knowing full well it may not be something that serves me, whether it's a client, a friendship, or really, like, it doesn't matter. I can sit in this space, like, just knowing that this particular thing is not in alignment. But sometimes I let that ego mind take over, right? Sometimes I let that fear creep in. And that fear is what then starts to create my reality. So I'm creating a reality not by what I want actually in my life every single day. I'm creating a reality for myself that is based in fear, that is based in the ego mind, and that is based on lack, right? That lack mindset. What do I think I'm missing? What do I feel like I'm going to be missing if I make this particular choice? Instead of tapping into the law of pure potentiality, right? Instead of tapping into the idea that whatever you're about to do next or create next or have in your life is in full alignment with who and how you are. And so it's about learning how to call in the awareness that you're seeking to help you create the life that you actually want to live. And then when you get to that point of awareness and you get to that point of, okay, this is what I believe that I want for myself, for my life, this feels good, this feels in alignment, from that space, then you can start to make decisions. And these decisions can be very difficult sometimes, right? They're not always easy decisions. Sometimes it looks like a lot of quote unquote loss. It looks like the end of a lot of different things. It can be the end of a relationship. It can be the end of a friendship. It can be a new path. It can be living somewhere new. It could be moving. It could be a new job. It could be taking up a new hobby. And the more that we start to tap into all of this stuff that brings us joy and that lights us up and follow those intuitive nudges and those intuitive hits that we get every single day, the more we start to do that, the more that we create that abundance in our life every single day, and the more we start to welcome more of that in. And then you kind of find yourself, well, I found myself in a place of, I know exactly what is in alignment for me. I know exactly what I want. And in order for me to get from this place of where I am to where I know I need to go, felt impossible and really, really difficult. And I can elaborate more on this in a future episode of what specifically I'm talking about. Not yet, not ready. But it made it very difficult to start to shift my mindset around the stories that I've been telling myself, about who and how I am and why I am a specific way. And then with that came this idea of selfishness, right? Am I being selfish for choosing something that feels in alignment with myself? And that is so detrimental, I think, because it can have you questioning and second guessing your intuition and questioning and guessing what you know to be true and believe to be true about yourself and the life that you want to have for yourself and what you want to create and the types of relationships you want, right? The people that you want to have around you. Do you want people who get you on a soul level and have really conscious and aware relationships? And so I think what happens is when you start to sit in this place of fear, the ego mind takes over, tells you it's unsafe, tells you it's too scary, tells you it's too risky, and tells you it's too selfish. But I think that sometimes it can actually be more selfish to hang on to something that you know is no longer in alignment for you, because what you're doing is you're taking away from either the other person in front of you, or you're taking away from a job that somebody else would be a better fit for, or you have a client that somebody else would be able to serve on a way deeper level, right? So it's all of these like different pieces that sometimes when we hang on too tightly to the things that we think we need, we're taking away what we really want, and we're taking away what the other thing in front of us deserves and how that deserves to continue to grow, to continue to evolve, and like to continue to manifest. So I was thinking a lot about, okay, so great. Now we have this idea of right versus wrong, which we know doesn't really exist anyways. We tap into this awareness, right? We start to shake up the different stories that we tell ourselves every single day about who we are, how we are, and why we are. And then we can start to transform those stories and decide if those are actually stories that are serving us or stories that are hindering us and holding us back and keeping us small and keeping us stuck in a place that maybe we feel like we've outgrown. And then comes the acceptance piece of accepting, okay, this is my right next step. This is what I want to do in my life. This is what I want to create in my life, right? Again, very difficult because we don't like change. And, human beings fear that. And we can easily be very, very swayed when it comes to the ego mind and when it comes to what we feel like we deserve. And so if you're someone like me, I've always had a worthiness problem. Like I've always felt unworthy of having what I truly, truly desire in life. And that stems back for so many years. And so then you kind of get to this place where you get to know who you are again. And for me, this journey's looked a lot of like, okay, but what are my core values in life? What are the things that are important to me every day? What kind of relationships do I want to be creating and cultivating? And how much time do you give people to start to see changes in your life like that? So, all to say, I like to keep these solo ones short. So I hope this has been valuable for you. But one thing I want to leave with you before we wrap up this episode today is when you're in that place of awareness and when you can start to sit in and make decisions from an aligned place, you can start to look at the universe, the world, or whatever, God, whatever you want to call it. And you can start to ask for signs. If I'm on the right path, show me X, Y, and Z. Mine are 555. I see specific license plates. And those are all signs for me that I'm on the right path and that I'm going, that I'm doing the right thing and that I'm making the right choices. And those become those like little nudges and those little signs in life to keep going, those little glimpses of hope that even in your darkest moment, even in a time that could feel impossible for you, it's still possible to find joy, and like it's still possible to find little moments of happiness and inner peace and stillness. And even when you're going through hard things, like there's still the opportunity to like look at the sunset and be in complete awe and appreciation for it, right? There's still an opportunity to pick up to pick up the phone and call a friend and, meet someone for dinner, or, just find those people in your life and like lean on those people in your life that are here to support you on a soul level. And I think that we don't give enough credit to those relationships in our lives that are there to build us up and remind us, and like the people who are in our life to remind us, of our power and of who we are and like what we deserve and why we deserve it. And so if you're sitting in a place of maybe feeling like you're making the wrong choice, or maybe you're feeling a little bit unworthy for what you have, or really not sure what to do next, find people in your life, reach out to those people in your life that remind you of your power and remind you that the decisions that you're making are valid and fair and true and honest, and you're allowed. And I think at the end of the day, you get to this beautiful place of self acceptance, of that deeper inner knowing, and you sit from the space of, I don't know if maybe I'll regret this one day, but I don't think that I will, because I'm honoring what feels in alignment and true for me. And so you're taking the story back from the ego mind, right? You're taking the story and the power back from the ego mind, and you're rewriting it, and you're choosing a different thought, and you're choosing a different action and a different next step. And so this is what I want to leave you with today. Thank you for indulging me in this conversation. I'm so grateful for you. If this resonates with you, just share it on social media. Tag me at Happiness Happens Podcast. Tag me at Simona with 2_ Costantini. All of the links are in the show notes for you to be able to connect with me there. It means so much to me that you are here. You have no idea. And it also means so much to me when you share these episodes with someone that you absolutely just love and you know needs to hear this conversation. So thank you for sitting in this space with me today. Thank you for honoring what I wanted to share with you today. And I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. Cannot wait to see you on the next episode. And remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.